When it comes to doing big tasks, we tend to focus more on the destination than the journey. That is, we tend to focus more on the big goal rather than on the things that we need to do to get there. And it's very easy to get overwhelmed when we have this mindset. When we have the end goal as the task, the friction to start working just gets so high, you either not do anything about it, or even just doing a bit of work in that direction feels very stressful. So how do we combat this? That's what we're going to be discussing in this video. Hey there, lovely person watching YouTube. If you're new here, hi, my name is Ajay. I'm an Indian doctor currently in the UK. If you're already subscribed, welcome back. I love you to the stars and back. As I was saying, we all tend to focus more on the big goal, the big task, and we get overwhelmed and we either, don't do anything about it, or even the thought of doing something about it causes a lot of anxiety. So what do we do about it? As anticlimactic and cliche as it sounds, all you need to do is focus on the journey. If you do the journey part right, you will arrive at the destination, which is the final goal. Now at this point, you'll be like, sure, I already know that. Tell me how I can focus on the journey. Any journey would need a map. So make yourself a map or a timeline with properly defined tasks. Like you actually need to write it down somewhere or like type it into your computer so that you can go back and refer to it and change it if required. So what do I mean by properly defined tasks? Say you need to complete a task or you have a goal, let's call it X. And let's say you have 6 months to do it. Break down the big task into smaller subtasks and plan that this month I'm going to accomplish this much, next month I'm going to accomplish this much, and so on. And the first month task, break it down into smaller weekly tasks when you begin that month. And then break down the weekly task into smaller daily tasks when you begin that week. And then break down the daily tasks into smaller 30 minutes or like 1 hour bite-sized chunks of work when you start the day, or more ideally on the previous evening, so that the next day you just know what you need to do and you can just get into it and start working on it. So now that you have your day, your week and your month roughly planned out, you don't need to worry about the big goal, the goal that causes anxiety. All you need to do is to get that day's tasks done. That's it. Just finish your bite-sized 30-minute, 1 hour long tasks, all the tasks that you have assigned yourself for the day, and that's it. You're on the path to success. And when you set these tasks, when you define your task for the day, you have to be very clear and very precise about what you mean by it. When you're setting monthly, weekly and daily tasks, you're basically creating a task list for yourself in the future. Whatever you write down now might be very clear to you now, but future you in 5 days or a month may not understand these tasks properly, because you would have forgotten the context in which this task was planned. So be very clear and very precise as to what exactly the task is. For example, study anatomy on Monday is a very vague task. What does it mean? Should I study one chapter, one unit, or like the entire anatomy on Monday? When there is confusion regarding what a task exactly means, there'll be just unnecessary friction and it just becomes difficult to start with that work. Instead, be precise. Say, study chapter 1 of anatomy on Monday. So when you get to Monday, you don't have to think about it at all. All you have to do is study chapter 1 of anatomy, and that's your task for the day. You don't need to worry about other chapters or other units. It's a task for a different day. You don't need to worry about it today. As long as you do your task for today, you're done. You don't need to worry about anything else. And when you set these tasks, if possible, try to define how you're going to do it. This makes more sense for the daily and the weekly plans, the plans in the very near future. So let's say the task is study chapter 1 of anatomy on Monday. You can add notes to the task saying, study theory from the textbook, make notes, and then do 20 questions from the question bank. So when it's time for you to sit and do the task, you don't have to sit and think, oh, how am I going to do this? All you need to do is just check the notes and do what it says. Of course, you don't need to make instructional notes like this for every day. Don't overdo it. Just do it for the first one, and if you're doing it the same way for the other units as well, you don't need to mention it again. Just do it for the first one, and all the other units you can just follow whatever notes you've written for the first one. But if there's something extra, like say you have to copy diagrams into your record book or something like that for a specific unit, mention that for that unit. You just follow the same instructions as before, plus something more for this specific chapter. So having these instructional notes means that you know exactly what you need to do, where to study it from, and if there's something important like say copying into record book or whatever, you don't miss it out. You don't need to remember it. You'll just have it in your notes. You can just come and check the notes, and if you need to do something, you can just do it. To give an example, graduating med school is a big task. It's a big, overwhelming task for any person. So if you just start working with your task as graduate med school, it's like climbing Mount Everest with flip-flops. Instead, the smart way to do is to plan out, and thankfully the people who set the syllabus, they plan it out for us themselves. They say you'll need to clear anatomy, biochemistry and physiology in first year, these subjects in second year, these subjects in third year, final year, all that. And then our teachers divide the entire year into semesters, and then you have to divide the rest into monthly, weekly, daily units or tasks. Frankly, even now, if I think of some subjects, like say if I say the task is pass anatomy exams, I get scared because it's a pretty big and a pretty difficult task for anyone. But when I break it down into small daily tasks, it's not that scary. I don't need to worry about clearing the exam. All I need to worry about is studying this one unit of anatomy that I've allocated for myself today. And if I study this today properly, my task for today is done. And when I study small units like this for like say 100 days, I finish 100 units in anatomy in 100 days, and before I know it, I've completed the whole of anatomy syllabus, and if I take the exam now, I'll obviously pass it. I probably will pass it. It cannot be made more simple than this. Another example, let's say I want to get ripped, get six-pack abs, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon, but let's just think, it's just an example. It sounds like such a difficult and distant goal that if you just go to the gym thinking, like get six-pack abs as my task, it's just gonna be such a big task and you're gonna burn out, right? Instead, if you tell yourself all you need to do today to get six-pack abs 6 months from now is to do these 5 sets of exercise properly in the gym today, and also like stick to the diet. That's all you need to worry about for today. It's very easy to do those 5 sets in the gym. And it's very easy to stick to the diet plan. Well, that one's kind of debatable anyway. But anyway, you get my point. As long as you define a task for the day and you do it, that's all you need to worry about. You know you're on the right path, that if you just continue doing the task that you have set for your days, you're on the right path. And in 6 months or like 1 year or however long it takes to achieve your goal, you will achieve your goal because you're literally doing the things that you need to be doing to get to that goal. All of this gives clarity and mental peace, and where there is clarity and mental peace, there is efficiency, and where there is efficiency, there's progress, and progress is what we're aiming for, right? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.